A cookie cutter form may be fine for a simple operation, but it's like, how can I, look, a simple spousal will might be a great estate plan that you can get online from the Florida Bar. A simple as-is real estate agreement from the Florida Bar of Realty, Florida Board of Realty and Florida Bar is a great form for a single transaction between, that's great. But I would never have an estate plan that was founded in a spousal online form will for somebody who's going to have wealth and complexity. Okay? So if you say, look, I want to start with, I've got a corporation and I'm, it's a $10,000 deal, and here's a way to at least create the forms, that's great. But as you get to the point, and sooner rather than later, at least consult with a business lawyer and a good CPA and or a good tax attorney, and make sure all your forms get reviewed before you grow. Because and I know it looks all like complete, but there are going to be nuances in available to you that when your business is more complex, you may wish that you had. Okay? And I'm sure there are things like, issuing non-equity shares, right? I mean, they're just things corporations can do to raise capital that you can give in your bylaws and your corporate documents, the flexibility within the governance of the corporation that aren't going to get covered, in my opinion, by LegalZoom. Okay, and that's my point. And that being said, when you first start out and you want a simple will just to have something, probably a form will is just fine. Okay, and if you're going to buy your first house and you want to just do it with realtors and not get lawyers involved, of course, that's great. This is about your entrepreneurship, and what I hope your ultimate goals are is to be sitting here in 30, 40 years teaching, right, as Mr. Shapley is. And I guarantee you, he spent more money and he didn't like doing it on lawyers, especially.
Well, when I started my company, one tennis buddy was a divorce attorney and he did the incorporation. It cost me a fortune when it all had to be redone later. The other tennis buddy had just graduated USF in accounting and he set up my books. Cost me a fortune to get it all done properly later. So what Lee said is absolutely correct. If you get it done right properly in the beginning, you won't be totally upside down and set up inappropriately like I was. Can't even begin to tell you how much it cost me to fix what wasn't done right the first time.
See, I didn't want to share too much of that, but that's a real life example of thinking you have what you need. And then, heaven forbid, you get into a situation where you have co-owners. You may be 100% shareholder right now. So changing the docs is easy, but you get 2 or 3 other people who are, also shareholders. Even if you keep 51%, you probably have heard about the minority shareholder interest rule, right? You still have to give due regard as a fiduciary to the 49% shareholder. So you lose all that freedom. But at 100% shareholder, before you bring anybody else in, before you get too big, just at least sit down, have your documents reviewed. If somebody who is looking just at you and your business needs blesses the form documents, fantastic. It doesn't cost that much money. It really doesn't cost that much money to just have somebody do a review. A lot of lawyers will do that for you, especially as a young entrepreneur, to create that relationship, right? They aren't going to, some lawyers will simply say, let me look at your stuff. Is it Alex? Your name? Zach, sorry. Zach, and say, hey, listen, I know you got this great model, this great idea. Let's start building a relationship. Sure, I'll look at your documents, no charge. And they'll come up with suggestions and you can follow that advice or not. But so, I think that, again, it's the minutia we're not going to carry out, maybe not past the wine we drink at dinner, okay? But certainly not after a few weeks. The big picture is these legal documents will be integral to your business, whether as an employer or employee, and don't be penny wise and pound foolish when it comes to getting top flight professional review, and it typically will save you money rather than cost you money.